very, very excited to have you on here today. I've been wanting to get someone from the outdoor sports industry, more specifically winter sports, on here for a long time. And so I'm just super stoked to have you on. I know a lot of my friends will be excited to hear this as well, because a lot of them take part in the winter sports activities, namely Matt Kreimer. I'm going to send this to him right after. So Eric, I do want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you're up to.
Sure. Yeah. And Jake, I appreciate you having me on. So my name is Eric Lee O'Brien. I'm the founder and CEO of Snowledge. Snowledge is an app for skiers and snowboarders, and also integrates with resorts, something you can use wherever you ski, across resorts and in the backcountry. And then we also offer a whole kind of suite of kind of marketing and communications tools for resorts and brands. Really, our big goal is just to create a cool, connected community within the ski industry that's global.
Right on. And I noticed one of the things that you mentioned in your LinkedIn profile is that you're a recovering attorney. And there have been a lot of people I've had on here that are quote unquote recovering attorneys. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about like your career history, how you got involved with skiing and snowboarding, and then what led up to Snowledge actually becoming a company.
Yeah, for sure. So, I went to school. I went to college at University of Colorado. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do after that, but knew I wanted to maybe, do something else, kind of continue the education a bit. So ended up moving to San Francisco for law school. Had it in my mind that I wanted to find a way to work back into the ski industry one way or another. I'd grown up ski racing. Skiing was always my passion. So I figured that, this would be a good avenue to maybe build a good, career within skiing. So was going to school in San Francisco and making trips up to Tahoe, as much as I could get up there, and actually ended up taking a job in South Lake Tahoe after I finished school and had passed the bar. So I had a pretty good situation. I wasn't working crazy hours like a lot of my friends. I was able to get out and ski fairly regularly. And around that time, I got back into competing in the kind of the free ride competition world, which is kind of the skiing I always wanted to do when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I was skiing POW and jumping off things. So got to get back into that regularly, really enjoyed that. Such a cool community. And just around that same time as I was practicing, was looking at some of the early ski and snowboard apps and also kind of tracking Strava's progress, and just saw a really cool opportunity within the ski community that just kind of felt like it fit me a little bit better than, the legal profession, which again, wasn't that I didn't enjoy that, but I wasn't passionate about it. And it just wasn't something that I wanted to invest. If I get behind something, I just want to put all of my time and energy and effort into making it work. And I just didn't feel that motivation or that passion to do that in law. And just, as I was getting back into skiing and competing, it was really a kind of a cool fit to be able to, for me to be able to spend the time doing what I love doing and be really involved with that community, and also work on a project, build a company that I was, really interested in and kind of really behind.
Yeah. Where do you think your passion for skiing and snowboarding originally came from?
I think it was just in the very early days, my first couple days. Actually, I had a miserable first day out skiing. I started at it was a grade school Friday ski program. I went to school outside of Boulder. So Eldora was the first resort I skied. And, a lot of kids in my class had grown up, from a really early age, started skiing. And I showed up, I think I was 7. So maybe second grade. And of course, wanted to join the program and get out on the hill versus staying at school on Fridays. And went up and kind of assumed that I'd be fine at it. So kind of followed everybody out, ended up on something that was way over my head the first day, and just had a heck of a time getting down. Didn't really have fun, was super embarrassed. But that second day kind of got onto some better terrain, just, got my feet under me a bit, and just like immediately, I just loved it. Like I was just, I was hooked. So pretty much from there on out, it was just trying to figure out how I could spend as much time as possible on snow. And I've kind of, essentially been doing that my whole life since, with a few detours along the way, though.
Yeah, right on. And the reason I asked that question is because there's a lot of theories behind like where passions come from, and whether it's something that is just innate in our nature. Like if you were just destined to really enjoy playing in the snow. That's as simple as I'm going to make it, just
Yep,
playing in the snow and doing whatever you can in the snow. Whereas other people see it as like, regardless of what you're doing, it's something that's just built over time and you'll find a way to be happy with it. So I guess I'm curious to hear if like what you feel like you're doing now, if it seems like work to you. Because a lot of what you're doing is still playing in the snow, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes with Snowledge that are more businessy, and those are
sure.
normally not done in the snow.
Yeah, that's a great question. It does feel like work. I mean, there's plenty of hard work and long, long hours that go into this knowledge. But I just enjoy, every step of that process so much that it really doesn't, I mean, you're putting in time, but it really doesn't feel like work, I think, in the traditional sense, just in that I'm always excited and motivated and energized to work on it. But on the flip side of that, there is, I mean, fortunately, I mean, through all this, I've put myself in a position and kind of given myself the opportunity to actually spend a lot of time out on snow as well. So
Hmm.
it's a good balance, and I'd say, for the most part, now it doesn't feel like work. It's just something I look forward to every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so Snowledge was founded in 2013, right? And were you still working on like a legal career path while you were founding it, or how did that transition process work for you?
At that point, by 2013, I had stopped practicing law, so I was working on Snowledge a little bit before that, but that's when we really kind of kicked things off and decided to just jump in, with both feet, and just real. I mean, kind of got to that point of, after working on it a bit initially, it was just like, the only way that this is ever going to take off is to just put my full time and energy and effort behind it. So I've been working on it since 2013, and we've done a lot of bootstrapping over the way. There was a lot. I mean, for me, it was a totally different field. I had no background in technology, so there was certainly a kind of a bit of upfront learning I had to do, just about how to even build the business, putting the business model together, finding the people to help us build some of the early prototypes. So
Yeah.
that definitely took some time. It just was kind of piece by piece, just putting things together in those
Yeah.
early years.
What were you originally trying to build? Like, what was your goal going into it?
The original idea behind Snowledge, I mean, I guess there were a few different factors or things that I was kind of looking at as a skier. I mean, one was just my frustration with the early ski apps, um, just not kind of seeing all of the features that I wanted there, but also being really frustrated by the fact that a lot of the apps are siloed, in the sense that you could only use them at one resort or a group of resorts. So for example, I was living in South Lake Tahoe and skiing at Heavenly, and also skiing at Kirkwood before Vail acquired Kirkwood. So I was using the Epic Vail app at Heavenly, but I couldn't use it at Kirkwood, and that was just like
Mhm.
tremendously frustrating. So that was one of the big problems that we were trying to solve, with Knowledge initially, was just like kind of bridging that gap.
And it sounded like another thing that you were focusing on in the early days, from just our brief conversation so far, is getting in touch with other people that are in the same community that you're in, and building a place where everybody else can come and play in the snow together and have as much fun as possible. And so I think that's what you've been building over the last several years here. But I'd love to peel back the curtain a little bit to get into your business model and talk a little bit about your strategy behind what you're doing now. So um, I would love to just start with asking, is there like an underlying business model that you're trying to replicate with Knowledge, or is it something that you've just built over time as a team?
I think we've certainly adjusted our model as we've gone. I don't think that we're not looking at another, a model from another company and saying, hey, there's an opportunity to replicate this. But I think we've just really found, through a lot of time and energy and effort and just understanding of the ski industry, that there is kind of a good model in there. And that for us, that really starts with focusing on resorts is like the key. Initially when we were looking at this, we were thinking just an end user facing app similar to Strava, build the community. But, from a skier standpoint, so much of your experience in your day and just having a good time on the mountain relies on, the resort and getting real time useful information whether it's, conditions, weather, parking, lifts. There's so many things that are just crucial to that experience. We realized pretty early on that, really needed to have the resorts involved in that. So and also, in conversations with resorts, realized there was an opportunity from the resort side to really, for the non-Vail and Altera resorts, provide a lot of the same features and community that the bigger resort group apps can provide, but that just the smaller, independent resorts are just, don't have the budget to build themselves.
Right. So now, I mean, go ahead.
Well, I just said, yeah. So that's where we really have focused our model, is like in serving resorts and then using resorts to reach users.
Yeah, so I'm curious to hear more about like where the revenue lies within there, because I wouldn't download the app. I had to do it. I'm interviewing you. I might as well go and download the app. Um, and obviously, from downloading the app, like I don't pay for anything to download the app. It's free to use. You get all kinds of data. I can connect it to my Apple Watch. It's actually really nice UX as well. So, like for me in the Twin Cities here, there's a ski resort called Afton Alps. So I made that my top resort. And then I actually did like I went and skied at the resort. I didn't actually go there today. That would have been a heck of a day if I did that. But
ideal.
Yeah, it would have been very ideal. Maybe I'll go this weekend. But you can connect to your Apple Watch and get all kinds of data. But I don't have to pay for anything on here. I did notice that there's different like promos and different things you can sign up for. So I'd assume that you might get a cut or like a referral fee from all the sponsors on there. But anyways, just curious about your revenue model and how you guys are sustaining this.
Sure. So it's, really where we are right now is a freemium model for resorts. So we've created profiles for all resorts in North America, and we've actually started branching out to the Southern Hemisphere and Japan. But the resorts, for them, they've got something. It's essentially a free resource and a free listing where they can claim their profile and update it and add even more information. We also have the ability to just kind of build communities around resorts, whether or not we're working with them. So photos and videos that are posted and tagged in the app at a specific resort just kind of allow the community to kind of pop up organically. But then we also have some paid features for resorts within that. If they want to engage with their community, they can reach folks on the mountain with messaging, offers, contests, and events. So there's kind of a bit more of a set of engagement tools. Plus, we do a lot of the kind of curating of campaigns and assets. We really do a lot of the work to help the resorts build that community. So that's essentially the kind of the differentiator and the line between free and paid for the resorts. And it's a similar model for brands as well, though we're just in the early stages of getting that up and running.
Yeah, another area where it might be interesting is like outfitters close to hills. Like if somebody wants to do ski rentals, I work with another company called Trip Outside, and that's pretty much what they do. They partner with outfitters across the country, and if people want to go out and do human powered adventures, they're able to go and do that, and they can just do it and book it through Trip Outside's website. So it might be cool to have that built into the app at some point as well. You mentioned that you have pretty much every ski resort in the United States, if not all of North America. Did you guys go and manually do all of those ski resorts and add them to the app?
Not all manually, fortunately, but there was a lot of manual data entry that went into that. So there are some resources out there you can pull from, for weather forecasting, for example, like those, that information exists. There are also some other APIs that trade associations in the ski industry that kind of provide a lot of that basic information that you can tap into. But there's a lot of kind of customization that we do on top of that as well. So we automated some of that, but there was a lot of manual input that is also creating these profiles.
I could imagine. And I just want to just stop here and respect the heck out of you for going through that process and listing out all of the resorts. I'm sure the grind was real for a long time.
Yeah, it was kind of cool though as well. So, I mean, certainly it took a lot of hours, but it was fun going through and just kind of being able to research all of these small independent resorts and just get a sense of really kind of what the whole, I think there's a lot of people out there don't realize how many just, cool independent local hills there are around. I know up in your neck of the woods. I mean, there's there are probably 120 to 140 resorts between Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota. It's like most people just have no idea that there's that many places that you can ski up there. So it was just fun to kind of go through and really get a little bit more of a sense of exactly who these resorts are, where they are, who their customers are. It's just kind of a bit of a fun research project for me.
Cool. And how many resorts are there estimated? I won't make you do it exact, but in North America total?
525 is the number for North America. Yeah.
For some reason, I knew you would know the exact
Yeah,
number.
yeah. 8,000 worldwide, between ski areas and ski resorts. So there's a differentiation just based on lifts and size, but there's 8,000 places designated for skiing around the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it sounds like Snowledge has a long way to grow in the
Yeah.
future here. I mean, you're at least 525 right now, but if there's 8,000, that's a lot more than
Yeah.
525. So
Yeah.
definitely
That's the
job
plan.
security there for you.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, making this, a global community and incorporating all of the resorts and then the brands and local businesses and just kind of the ecosystem that supports those resorts. So, a long ways to go. We just, I guess, look at that as there's just a big opportunity.
Cool. How big is your internal team right now?
We have 20 people working on this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a mix. We've
Okay.
got
Wow.
some kind of a crew of or full time dedicated people, and then we've got a lot of folks, pitching in on the side, doing part time work. People that we've identified as kind of our next hires on the team. So we've got a good group in place, and it's we've been able to do a lot with a little so far. We've done a lot of kind of bootstrapping and just found people who are really passionate about what we're doing and believe in the vision. And it's
Yeah.
it's been a good time, and it's a good group.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed you guys did or do really well is all the media work that you do. Your social media platforms are really good, but I know I was looking at your YouTube as well, and I went all the way back in the back. Like I think I was watching your like 2016 GoPro season highlights at one point on there,
Yeah, we've come a long way
which
over the last few years.
yeah, but it was really cool going through and seeing all that, and I understand like why you're putting that content out there. Um, and I think it plays into your broader marketing strategy. But I'd love to hear it from your perspective, like how you're going about growing your brand of Snowledge and what you think the next steps are for you in the next year or so.
Sure. Yeah. So our focus again is primarily reaching skiers through our resort partners, but we also do a lot of, like you said, kind of media content work. So we just within our team we have several, people who are still actively, competing, working as athletes for brands. So it's fun for us. It's stuff that we enjoy doing on the side, and we've got some really talented we've got a really talented photographer and videographer kind of within our team who is able to capture all this stuff. So it's been a great way for us to build relationships with resorts, but also just in terms of getting people aware of what we're doing. There's really just a fun story we can tell around our team and kind of the adventures that we're having, that I think is a really, hopefully authentic way to connect with people in the community and maybe differentiate ourselves and just able to let people know that we really do, we just eat, breathe, and live this stuff, and we're really dedicated to building a great community around that. So I think that's something that we've, it's been a lot of fun for us to work on, but I think it's also just kind of a cool thing that maybe we're able to do that, some other folks who are doing the same thing just are not as focused on.
Yeah, and I feel like there'd probably be a way for you to convince a couple of resorts to um, pay for what you're doing just on the media side of things, and then you could
We're
also
actually
be
already
like,
doing that.
okay,
Yeah, we
cool,
have,
well, perfect. Because yeah, go ahead.
we've done several kind of paid media projects, and we work with, Squaw Valley's our home mountain here, and we do work with Squaw. So we've started to branch into that, and it's really been it's a
Good.
great, for the bigger resorts. There's really a cool opportunity for us to build a strong relationship and just get them, give them some content that they're really excited about, and then use that to start the conversation around the app and how we can get them looped in there for some of the ones that already have their own app, but but still see some value in kind of teaming up with us on that front. So
Yeah, I just thought that would be kind of interesting to do, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing it already because, I mean, you could probably make an excuse to yourself to go out to literally any ski resort in North
yeah,
America and for a weekend, do
oh
some
yeah,
filming, and just give them a piece of content, but also tie that back into what you're doing and then grow the user base from the other
yeah,
side as well. And so
yeah.
I think
Well,
that have you considered that approach and instead of targeting like the ski resorts directly, going the other way and trying to build like this movement of users using your app? It kind of sounds like you're doing a little bit of both right now, but
yeah.
just going 100% all in on the users in like the snow exploration community, just skiers and snowboarders, getting them to use the app and getting the leverage on these ski resorts to the point where they literally cannot not have the app because everybody uses it.
Yeah, and we're definitely approaching it from both sides. So, of course, if we
Yeah.
can build these, large, organic, engaged communities, that the more users we have at a resort, the easier it is to go have the conversation with that resort. So, yeah, I mean, we are, we're kind of hitting it from both sides. With the resorts who are excited about what we're doing and the feature set, there's an opportunity to just go ahead and work with them to really build that community. But we also are we're just seeing these kind of cool communities grow up with resorts that we don't have a relationship with yet. And as we continue to grow those communities and just kind of show more engagement, it's an easier decision for the resort to jump in and kind of take advantage of the premium features at that point to reach those skiers.
Cool. Really cool. Well, there's a couple of things I probably shouldn't talk about on the air, but I'll talk about them with you afterwards offline. But would love to hear from your perspective, like you're 7 years into this now, almost 8, depending on how you want to count the years. We're in 2021 now. Um, I mean, it sounds like you're still super passionate about what you're doing at Snowledge, and you're growing the skiing and snowboarding community, which I think is awesome. And you're also building a business off of something that you love, which I also very much admire. And there's a few people that are doing the same thing. I'm happy to introduce you to them as well, but would love to hear like a few things that you're looking forward to in the year ahead as it relates to Snowledge and your personal exploration. And if you have any asks from our audience, feel free to throw those in there as well.
Sure, sure. So yeah, I mean, we're real excited for this upcoming winter. We're just seeing, again, I guess the thing that we're excited the most about on the Snowledge side is just the kind of the growth and engagement we've seen around our partner resorts. So I think we're really starting to understand what it takes to build a community at a resort, which is, definitely a kind of a tricky thing, and we've certainly had to learn a bit about that along the way, but we're really starting to see kind of more of that and get a better sense of what that looks like. So just continuing to grow that more and really develop out those case studies that we can use to get more resorts excited going into next year. So on the Snowledge side, that's really our focus for the kind of for the remainder of this season. And then just from a skiing standpoint, I've been competing in the free ride series for a long time. Had a great season last year. Got cut a little bit short. Was very close to qualifying for the Freeride World Tour. Was kind of right in the mix, and then just slipped a little bit out in the rankings. But tentatively, those events are happening again this year, so I'm really excited to get back to that and just continue competing and kind of connecting. That's such a cool community of people just from all over. I can't wait to see that whole freeride family and just get back to back to skiing with everybody and back into these competitions, which are pretty fun. So we're doing that, and then we've got some of these media projects lined up as well. So it's a lot of tentative things right now, but we've got a few fun trips planned where I think we're going to get to go visit resorts and just put together kind of more cool content around the Seeking Snowledge YouTube episodes that we're working on right now. So that would, and I guess in terms of asks for your community, we'd love for you to check us out on social media, on Instagram at snowledge.co. We've got a lot of good content flowing through those channels, and we've got a really cool team of ambassadors and just our kind of our media team within Snowledge. We're doing some fun things there. And over on our YouTube channel, we've got a Seeking Snowledge series, which is a weekly 5-minute edit of kind of resort, backcountry skiing, just basically whatever we're getting into for that week, and just to kind of out there trying to make the most and find good terrain to ski. So there's a lot of fun stuff there, and love anybody wants to come and kind of join that adventure with us. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, and I'll double down on that, especially the YouTube series. Definitely follow Instagram, but the YouTube series, if you're a curious skier or snowboarder and just like to learn new things, give that a look. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. Um, but the other thing I would add to that, Eric, is just download the app.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the UX is
also a
really
big one.
nice. Yeah, yeah, I would say
Yeah,
so too. But if you're going anywhere, I mean, as Eric mentioned, literally every ski resort across North America is on here. So, like right now, I'm looking at Afton Alps. It's 25 degrees today. It doesn't look like there's going to be any snow in the forecast. Looks like a wonderful day to go skiing. Um, Maybe going to sneak out there next weekend. So just check it out, give it a shot. And feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have about it. But Eric, I'm going to hand it back over to you. We'll wrap up here, give you some time back. If you have anything you want to leave the audience with today, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, yeah, Jake, I appreciate you reaching out again and having me on. Yeah, just to encourage everybody out there to get out and make some turns this season. Just with everything that's kind of happening these days in the world, it's just such a great way to get out and kind of clear your head. And just know, for me personally, it's just it's good for the soul just being out there. So if you've been thinking about skiing, or maybe you haven't skied in a few years, like you take a day, take a weekend to get out there, spend time with your friends. God, there's really just no better way to spend time in the winter.
Yeah, and I'm going to add on top of that too. I'm going to say, if you want to go skiing and you're looking for some kind of inspiration, or you're looking for a sign to go skiing, this is your sign. Give me a call. I will literally come with you wherever you're going. If you're going out to Colorado, I'll come. I don't care. I'm down to clown. So Eric, thanks for hopping on here. This has been a really fun episode. I'm very glad I got someone from the outdoor industry, more specifically the winter sporting industry, on here. And it's been my pleasure to just sit down with you and chat and get to learn a little bit more about Snowledge and expand my Snowledge knowledge. I can't believe I just said knowledge, but I did. So thanks for coming on, Eric, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Great. Thanks for having me, Jake. Appreciate it.
Yeah.